Most people don't realize this, but there's one silent habit that's quietly destroying confidence, self-respect, and even relationships. It's not lying. It's not overthinking. It's the constant need to explain yourself. Every time you feel like you have to justify why you're tired, why you didn't reply, why you made a choice, you give away a piece of your power. And Carl Jung, one of the greatest minds in psychology, warned, "The person who explains themselves too much is not being understood. They're trying to be accepted." Today, let's uncover why you keep explaining yourself, what it really says about your mind, and how to break free, finally. The hidden wound behind justifying yourself. It starts early. When you're a child, maybe you cried and heard, "Stop being dramatic." Perhaps you felt fear and were told, "You're overreacting." Maybe you said no, and someone got angry at you for it. Each time, you learned something dangerous, that your emotions are valid only when others approve of them. So, you began to explain, to prove, to convince. That habit didn't vanish when you grew up. Now, as an adult, you justify your silence, your sadness, your decisions, hoping others will understand. But deep down, you're not asking for understanding. You're asking for permission to exist. Jung's warning, the split self. Carl Jung saw this as a fracture inside the human soul, a split between who you are and who you think you need to be. He called it the loss of inner authority. When you rely on others to validate your choices, you give up your psychological sovereignty. You become a mirror, reflecting what others expect, not who you truly are. This is why explaining yourself feels exhausting, because every explanation is a quiet apology for existing as you are. And no matter how well you explain, it never feels enough, because it's not about logic. It's about the wound of self-doubt, the invisible prison. When you live this way, your life becomes a performance. You measure every word. You walk on eggshells, afraid of being misunderstood. You craft explanations before anyone even asks for them. The result? You stop living freely. You stop feeling deeply. You become an actor in your own story, always watching yourself through other people's eyes. Jung said that true growth, what he called individuation, only happens when you stop performing for others and start listening to your own soul. As long as you keep explaining yourself, you're still living in someone else's story. The turning point. So, how do you break free? It starts with silence. The next time you feel the urge to explain yourself, pause. Breathe. Feel the discomfort, because that silence is your healing. It's your mind learning to exist without approval. It's your inner voice reclaiming its authority. At first, that silence will feel unbearable. You'll feel guilty, maybe rude, maybe distant. That's okay. That's the old conditioning fighting to survive. But over time, silence turns into strength. You begin to realize that your emotions, your choices, your truth don't need to be justified. They just are. Reclaiming inner authority. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." You can't do that if you keep explaining every move. Start practicing small acts of quiet self-trust. Say no without explaining. Take a break without guilt. Change direction without defending it. Each time you do, you reinforce one message to your subconscious. I am enough. My truth stands on its own. That's how inner authority is born. Not from control, but from trust. Not from noise, but from silence. One day, you'll look back and realize that the moment you stopped explaining yourself was the moment you truly started living. Because peace doesn't come from being understood. It comes from understanding yourself. If this message resonated with you, remember, silence isn't weakness. It's power in its purest form. Subscribe for more wisdom. See you in the next video. Thank you.